Good afternoon. I hope everybody had a great weekend. Before we get started, I just want to thank everybody who played a role in putting together such an excellent play this past weekend. The cast, crew, faculty, and staff all did an amazing job with the show. All the hard work and hours put into the show really came together and made it a great success. Thank you for all of your work. Today, for community time, we have two senior speeches. First, we'll welcome Sarah Theodros to the podium in the Thurber Arts Center. And she will be followed by Greta LaFrance. Please welcome those two seniors to the podium now.
Good afternoon. I never felt that I got to speak up about anything. No matter how hard I tried, I could never be confident enough to say my opinion. I was always afraid of what others would think and be in fear of sounding stupid. It started to annoy me that I couldn't say anything because I felt I had a lot to say. Why did I care so much about what everyone else thinks? To answer this, I started to think about my own experiences because I wanted to see where the root of the problem was coming from. As someone who is African American, I felt different from everyone else. My features did not look the same. I had darker skin, a bigger forehead, and thick and coarse hair, like an afro. To most, this might just be features, but they were something I was called racial slurs for. Even if I was just going into a store, people in there would stare at me uncomfortably. I also looked like the dirty people off the streets, and I wasn't capable of being beautiful according to someone that I was just trying to make friends with. I was pressured to straighten or hide my hair because it did not look presentable enough. Even when I did wear weaves to cover my hair, family, friends, classmates, and even people I have just barely met would complain, "Why aren't you wearing your real hair? You're being fake for the real hair God gave you." Sometimes others would try to even pull off my weave thinking it would be funny. When I did wear my real hair, the same people would say, "What's wrong with your hair? Please fix it. It looks so ugly." There would be times where I would walk into a room and someone would immediately ask what was wrong with my hair and tell me I have no idea how to take care of myself. It felt like no matter what, I could never win. I tried to defend myself by saying that I couldn't help the way my hair comes out of my head and that I actually did take care of it. Defending myself did not matter though, because I would always just get laughed at and told that I was being too sensitive. It made me feel that whatever I said didn't matter and that what I felt was an issue was unimportant. It was hard for me to connect with people. I was seen as odd for the way I talked. Sometimes it takes me a long time to form thoughts, and I have to be creative with what I say in order to be articulate. It made me feel horrible because I could not be as fast as everyone else in my life. I also got stares because I would use African American vernacular, and people would accuse me of not speaking English and telling me I'm not grammatically correct. When other non-Black people would use it, it was funny, and nothing was weird about it. Why was it different when I did the same thing? This question seemed to come up a lot for me because it would happen in different situations. I remember one time when I didn't complete my homework and the teacher yelled at me in front of the entire class. Yet on the same day, someone else, who was a non-Black person, also did not complete their homework, but the teacher just said, "It's okay, just never do it again." I understand teachers being frustrated at their students when they don't complete their homework, but it didn't make sense that I ended up being punished for it and the other person wasn't. It made me feel less than and very small. I did not try to defend myself because my words wouldn't matter. Over time, I felt everything about me was unimportant. It was to the point where I felt like what I had to say didn't matter either. I felt unloved and everyone around me would hate the opinions I had. It crushed me and sent me into a downward spiral of self-loathing. It felt like no one was on my team, and no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't change myself. The chaos that was 2020 made me learn a lot about my past experiences. People were alienated because of identities they can't control, such as race, gender, sexual orientation, disabilities, or religion. Of course, this happened before 2020, but it wasn't brought to attention much until last year. Why are people getting put to death for just existing? I believe the answer to this is lack of love and compassion. This helped me understand my own experiences better, because I was able to realize it wasn't just all in my head. They were real issues other people just like me were facing. It was just that people who don't face those problems were showing a lack of compassion by judging others. When I saw other people suffer with the same alienation, it made me feel confident about using my voice to say what I feel. Compassion is relevant to the pandemic as well. Sadly, many people have died due to the virus. It is why social distancing is so important. It is not only to protect you, but to protect others. For some reason, people fail to realize this. In fact, some would choose to go to a social gathering without a mask over other people's lives. Of course, this leads the virus to spread, and when more people get the virus, more people will die. That is why something as simple as wearing a mask is compassionate. It is protecting other people who are at risk from getting the virus, which saves lives. As you can see, the less compassionate the world seems to be, the more crisis-oriented the world is. This is something I have always had on my mind the entire time I was in high school. Since I had self-esteem issues, I never had the confidence to say this. I thought what I had to say was irrelevant or unimportant and no one would care. I just thought that this was just all in my head and I was being too sensitive. Since then, I've gotten back up on my feet, and it was difficult to be able to bounce back because I had to deal with intrusive thoughts that were hard to reverse, and there was no one to support me. Since no one would help me, I decided to help myself. I pushed myself to say my thoughts and to practice feeling confident when I'm speaking. I stopped listening to what others were saying about me, and I started to feel my issues were real. I finally gained a respect for myself that I felt no one would give me. What I have to say is so important, and I say everything loud and proud, which is why I'm speaking to you today. I embrace my differences now, and it couldn't make me any more happier. If any of you feel different or small, this is confirmation that your feelings are valid. It is not all in your head, and you're not just being too sensitive. If you know someone who is struggling, I encourage you to please help them and give your time to them. It will give them a support system and make them feel not alone and unloved. I am saying this because it is something I have felt for a very long time, and I will not even wish my own worst enemy to feel the way I did. It is a way to practice compassion, which is a very important life skill for adulthood. When you are compassionate towards others, you are using your voice to say that their lives matter. And you're giving them a voice because you're giving them the opportunity to talk about their issues. Compassion, love, kindness, and empathy are all the basis for human life. And without it, we will all cease to exist. Thank you.
Good afternoon. When I say Thomas Edison, what is the first thing that comes to mind? If you're thinking of the light bulb, I would have to agree with you. We have all heard the story, the romanticized glamour and the spectacular drama of Edison's enlightening accomplishment. What is perhaps less known is how hard and how long Edison must have toiled before it was his moment to shine. Stepping back from this pivotal achievement in American invention, I wonder, what would have happened if Edison had simply given up? I could be realistic and suggest a logical answer. Other scientists were working on the light bulb and would have eventually succeeded. But that isn't the point of my story. My point is that Edison didn't give up. I'm certainly no Edison, but I did have my own childhood Edison moment when I was 6 years old. It wasn't flashy, but it did sparkle a bit. I can still picture my 6-year-old vision like it was yesterday. A sparkling glass elevator gliding down the shaft. I had it all figured out. We needed a glass elevator that traveled straight through the center of our house. Truth be told, my idea was mainly inspired by the elevators at the Opryland Hotel in Nashville. It was a magical place to me, with beautiful buildings, bountiful bridges, and botanical gardens, all under a domed glass roof. A sort of outdoor paradise without the mosquitoes, and I'll never say no to that. But back to my elevator epiphany. I was so excited about my idea that I bounded to my parents' room to reveal my ingenious plan. Gesturing excitedly, I thoroughly explained the advantages of building a glass elevator and justified the project by exclaiming, "We can just buy some sheets of glass at Home Depot." My dad leapt at the learning opportunity, grabbing a pen from his pocket and a sheet of paper from his study to explain the structural challenges, while my mom gently offered alternative, doable craft projects. The idea's unfeasibility disappointed me, but did not deter me. Roaming around our basement while looking for supplies, I wondered how I could make my elevator without glass. All of a sudden, I had this idea that I could use our laundry chute as the makeshift elevator shaft. The chute travels through all 3 floors, and its final destination is the basement laundry room. This project would be quite doable. There are no architectural problems with this new plan because the chute already existed in our house. My elevator car was a small wicker basket that would operate as a pulley system, carrying our laundry up and down with stops at each floor. My dad and I assembled the contraption by knotting thick twine around the basket handles. For a professional flourish, I created elevator control panels out of small styrofoam pads that I attached inside each chute door. The controls, a colorful array of buttons from our craft bin, were labeled basement, first floor, and penthouse. To this day, when I run my finger over the pink penthouse button, I think about how turning an impossible dream into a tangible reality is less about supplies and more about perseverance. I like to think of myself as the never give up type, always trying my best. I believe my elevator story exemplifies this philosophy, although I'll be the first to admit that my earnest request for a glass elevator does have the quirky charm of a 6-year-old and has become an inside joke in my family. Whenever an idea seems overreaching or next to impossible, we call it a glass elevator idea. I'll never live it down. However, upon reflection, my change of plans, or rapid design change, as my lower school art teacher, Mrs. Jones, would say, illustrates the larger idea that we can do anything as long as we keep thinking and keep trying. After successfully making my elevator basket, I realized that I could set a goal for myself, work hard, and achieve results. The end result might not have been what I originally thought it would be, but I was really proud of that basket, and the experience ended up being an amazing and educational moment. My life moment, if you will. I'm not saying I unlocked the secrets of life, but it was one of the first times I can remember where I understood the meaning and the value of setting goals and reaching for them. And I'm not just talking about elevators anymore. I know that plenty of people have a better grasp and more experience with this idea of persistence than me, and I am inspired by those people. The women and men in history books, and the remarkable people in my own everyday life. I'm constantly learning from my parents, my grandparents, my sister, and my teachers. These are the people who always encouraged and supported me, who taught me by their words and actions that never giving up and honoring your ideas does not have to mean building a glass elevator. It means consistently trying and having the patience to be better. In all honesty, it is sometimes hard for me to embody this idea of resilience, which can apply to anything and everything, from a tough concept in class to a pie-in-the-sky dream. There are times when I want to give up. There are times when I do give up. More often, I keep going. And when I push myself to go the extra mile, it's always worth it in the end. My 6-year-old self could have never imagined the structural and architectural challenges of high school, of building a 4-year course schedule and navigating the complex and confounding college landscape. It turned out to be much harder than constructing a play elevator. There were no solutions in the basement craft bin, no pink penthouse button or wicker basket that could help me ease the ups and downs of the ride. But what still applied, what it always applied, was the perseverance piece. When I was a freshman, I had no idea what success in high school would look like, or how exactly to go about achieving it. I just trusted that with a supportive community and a healthy dose of hard work, I would find my own success. I would be able to persevere and achieve my goals. I would find my own success story. Now, as I stand here before you as a senior, I still don't know all the answers. But I have figured out what success looks like to me. It is when hard work pays off. It is continually trying your best and devoting the necessary time and effort, whether for your class, your performance, or your game. Success is oftentimes confused with perfection, the 100% on the assignment, or the flawless performance. But I think we all know that success has more than one meaning. For me, I believe success is better defined by perseverance than by perfection or product. I consider my wicker basket a success, not because it was the perfect glass elevator, but because I followed through with the idea, even when it seemed impossible. Today, as I look around, I'm reminded of how hard we have all worked to arrive at this moment, accomplishing things we never thought possible. And that brings me back full circle. Now is the perfect time for my friend Mr. Edison to join me on the podium. Edison once said that our greatest weakness lies in giving up. The most certain way to succeed is always to try just one more time. I interpret that as encouragement, to always have a glass elevator goal in the wings, because you never know. Your Edison moment may be only a moment away. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies, for those wonderful speeches. In athletics this week, many of our teams will begin their postseason play or compete in their final regular season contest. Baseball will conclude their season today against Lindsay Lane. Golf will compete in the Grissom Tiger Classic and the Whites Plain Invitational in Gadsden. Soccer begins the postseason Thursday and Friday. Both boys and girls teams will be taking on Hazel Green. The JV boys will play today at Huntsville. Softball has its final week of the regular season with games against Tanner, Lee, Mae Jemison, and then the Priceville Invitational. Track and field will compete Thursday and Friday at the sectional meet at James Clements. And best of luck to our girls tennis team, who is currently competing today and tomorrow in the state championships in Mobile. Anyone who's interested in joining the bowling team for next year can fill out the form found in the Upper School Morning Report or see Mr. Townsend. It doesn't matter if you've played in the past, as our coaches will be happy to teach you how to pick up the 7-10 splint, just like Anthony Neuer did. If you weren't watching the PBA's U.S. Open over the weekend, here is the Ginger Assassin picking up a split that hasn't been achieved in 30 years.
Some oxygen and water to spare the game. Brought to you by Guaranteed Rate. If you believe it, you can do it. Guaranteed Rate. Believe you will. I believe the Ginger Assassin can drop the 7-10. Oh, man.
Also over the weekend, Randolph was well represented on the Academic World Quest stage by our team in the World Affairs Council of America's national tournament. This was the first time Randolph has made the national tournament, and we finished only 12 points behind the third place finishers. Congratulations to Alex Covert, Marco Milinkovic, Harrison Wellington, and their faculty sponsor, Mr. Hilling. Recently, we also had 2 students recognized for their reaching the highest level of scouting. David Coomer and Ben Pollock were recently celebrated by the Eagle Scout Court of Honor and named to the rank of Eagle Scout. Congratulations, guys. Wednesday is our Arts, Athletics, and Academics Day. Advisories will compete in trivia, kickball, and then the day will be concluded with our talent show. Each event will bring points to your advisory, and the winning advisory will be handsomely rewarded. The weather Wednesday looks to be sunny, but it may be a little cold. Be sure to wear appropriate footwear and casual clothes for kickball, but you may also want to bring a sweatshirt or the like. If you have any last-minute talent show videos, you can send them my way by the end of today. Thank you for your time today. We're looking forward to Wednesday. Be excellent to each other, and seniors, you are dismissed.